Hello, guys. Today we are going to discuss a very important topic of English grammar, that is verb. A verb is an action word. It describes that an action is being done. For example, eat, play, read, cut, write. All these are verbs. अगर मैं हिंदी में आपको समझाऊं तो इसका मतलब ये है कि कोई भी वर्ड जो किसी एक्शन के होने के बारे में, कोई काम होने के बारे में हमें बताए, उसे हम वर्ब बोलते हैं। जैसे खाना, पीना, रोना, हंसना, दौड़ना, ये सारे एक्शंस हैं. सो ऑल दीज आर वर्ब्स. लेट मी गिव यू एन एग्जांपल इन इंग्लिश. John is sleeping in his room. In this sentence, sleep is a verb. The dog is sitting under the tree. In this sentence, sit is the verb. Now, verbs are of two kinds, main verbs and helping verbs. Let's talk about helping verbs first. Is, am, are, was, were, has, have, had. All these are helping verbs. They help the main verb in telling about the tense and in completing the sentence. Now, the main verbs are sleep, eat, write, run, cry. All these are main verbs. I hope this is clear to you. Okay, so let's do a very simple exercise. I'll speak out some sentences and you will tell me which are the main verbs and which are the helping verbs in these sentences. Okay, so the first sentence is they were eating in a restaurant. Yes, which is the helping verb? You're right. Were is the helping verb and eat is the main verb. Let's move on to the next sentence. Rakhi has prepared food at home. Try. You're right. Has is the helping verb and prepare is the main verb. You can do the next sentences on your own. Underline the helping verb and encircle the main verb. Okay, so verbs are further classified into two types, transitive verbs and intransitive verbs. But before understanding about transitive and intransitive verbs, we have to go through a few basic concepts. We are going to learn about subject and object. Subject is the doer of the action. That means जो काम कर रहा है वो subject है. And object is on which the action is being done. जिस पर काम हो रहा है, that is an object. And object is further classified into two types, direct object and indirect object. So direct object is usually a name or a pronoun, right? It will be clear from the examples, right? Let's discuss about indirect object first. Indirect object denotes the person to whom something is given or for whom something is done. Let's take an example and let's try to understand this concept. He gave me an apple. In this sentence, he is the doer of the action, so he is the subject. Gave is a verb. Okay, so giving something is an action, so it is a verb. Me, an apple. An apple is the name of a thing. It is a direct object. Now, an apple is given to me. So, what was indirect object? What is indirect object? It denotes the person to whom something is given. So, an apple is given to me. So, me is an indirect object. Right? Let's take one more example. You make me a cup of coffee. You make me a cup of coffee. So, you is the subject. Make is the verb. Me a cup of coffee. A cup of coffee is the direct object and me is an indirect object. I hope this is clear. So moving on, let's discuss transitive and intransitive verbs now. So transitive verbs. Transitive verb shows an action that passes over from the subject to object. That means in this sentence, there will be a subject and there will be an object. So the action passes over from the subject to the object. Let's take an example. The policeman arrested the thief. Here, the policeman is the subject. Thief, the thief is an object, direct object. And arrested is a verb. And what kind of verb? Yes, transitive verb. Let's take another example. The teacher told us a story. Here, the teacher is the subject because he is telling the story. The teacher is the subject. A story is direct object. Us is indirect object. Correct. So, told is a transitive verb because in this sentence we have subject as well as object. Now let's talk about intransitive verb. In intransitive verb, there is no object. That means action does not pass over from the subject to the object. Or word that denotes a state or an action that is complete in itself. We will take examples. Let's see. So the first example is she traveled yesterday. She is the subject. Traveled is a verb. What kind of verb we are going to discuss? Yesterday is an adverb, right? So there is no object. So in this sentence, traveled is intransitive verb, right? Let's take another example. Seema seems sad. In this sentence, it is a state. Okay, it is a state or an action that is complete in itself. It is a state of mind. She's sad. Okay, it is a state of mind. So in such kind of sentences, the verb is intransitive. Seema seems sad. Seema is a subject. Seems is intransitive verb. I hope this is clear. So now we are going to do a simple exercise to see whether you have understood this concept or not. Okay, so I'm going to speak out few sentences and you have to tell me which is the verb and what kind of verb it is, whether it is transitive or intransitive, and you have to identify the object and you have to tell me whether it is a direct object or an indirect object, right? So the first sentence is Bubbly closed the window. Bubbly closed the window. Which is the verb? Right, closed is the verb. And which is the object? The window is the object. And what kind of object it is? It is direct object. So closed is a transitive verb. You're right. Next sentence is soon the door opened. In this sentence, the door is the subject and opened is a verb, but there is no object. So opened is which kind of verb? You're right. It is intransitive verb. Moving on, the wind is blowing strongly. The wind is a subject. Is a helping verb. Blowing, blow is a main verb. Strongly is an adverb and we don't have an object. So it is intransitive. So the next sentences you are going to do on your own, and if you find any problem, you can ask in the comment section below. I hope you like this video. Please like, share and subscribe.